any damage into the house. This pile of what looks like corn stalks, if you've been out there, is a little pond they have in front of the house. Now, think height, because we're going up in a helicopter and we're moving to the east. This is kind of Castle Rock after the floodwaters had primarily receded. This was taken by Fred LaPierre from Sedalia. I don't know, I think he worked for the county at that time, and he flew all over Douglas County taking these kinds of pictures. But this is 3 days afterwards. The tannish color are the flooded areas. And this is the town of Larkspur, which, by the way, was 4,800 people at that time. Think of what it might have looked like today with, right now they're estimating the 2025 population. What did I say? Yeah, it is, it is Castle Rock, sorry. Yeah, Castle Rock is estimated today to 86,500, so. But this is kind of backwards because north is down here in this corner. So this happens to be right here, the Wolfens, well, I guess I've got it labeled, Wolfensberger Bridge. And then in town is Sellers Gulch Bridge that got hit. And interestingly enough, it didn't really do a lot of damage to the rock. Let's get a little closer in Castle Rock. Now, it's kind of hard to see where you are. This is mobile home park damage, which was off of Wolfensberger Road. I'm told that this area was over to the northeast side of what is the I-25 and Wolfensberger exit today. And this is a shot to the north, or to the southwest side, yeah, of that interstate, or of that intersection at the time. Now, you'll notice Beano shot this from the Lowell Ranch. This is I-25. And at that time, there were 300 vehicles trapped on I-25. And they had to be, the people that were in those vehicles had to be taken out by helicopter. And this is on where 85 comes in to I-25, or into, today, into, I think it's called Front Street now. And it washed out a good share, as you can see, of I-25 at that point. Now, this is the Douglas County Courthouse at the time from a little different perspective than you normally see it. This is sort of Creekside looking east. So this is the road up here. Kind of looks like a wreck on I-25, doesn't it? Yeah, you've got, it's just, you know. And interesting enough, these vehicles that looked a lot like this one down here in the foreground were strewn alongside East Plum Creek all the way up from Larkspur, all the way up. You can even see some evidence of that today at the old at the Lowell Ranch, which is I keep calling it the OV Ranch. That was their brand, and that is a Century Ranch that they had. But you know, you see places like, you know, on the other side of those vehicles would be Pegasus today, and the old hotel sitting over here, and the new sushi building going up over there. I don't know how they'll do in Colorado, but we'll see. Now we're into North Denver. We're off Wolfensberger Road primarily, but this is North Castle Rock. This is the higher oil building. I'm not sure where that's located, but it's very close to where the what is it, Circle K or Skelly today that's on there. It washed out the Wolfensburg Bridge. And then this is the shot from the east side looking towards the butte of Wolfensberger Road. The trees, by the way, are, I would guess, Cedar Hill Cemetery. And it must have took the McDonald's too, because I don't see McDonald's in that picture. Or what today is known as the Masonic Hall. Yeah. And it took the bridge. This is the shot from the Sellers Gulch Bridge area shooting into the residential area to the northeast of the bridge. It did quite a bit of damage in the homes up there. And then this is the picture of the temporary restoral going on about 3 months later at the bridge. Castle Rock looked a lot different with 4,800 people, didn't it, at that time? So, north of Parker was the northernmost area that got damaged. It would have damaged some of Parker today, but downtown Parker was quite small at that time. It did hit the Newland Gulch area, went on and across into the Arapahoe area, and then bent and sort of went to the northeast. And I do have a picture at Deer Trail where it washed out the Union Pacific track as well as the trestle that was there, washed out the underpinnings of the trestle.
Could I add something about Deer Trail?
Sure.
Deer Trail was totally isolated, not only the railroad track, but the power lines and telephone lines. And they were totally isolated, no power, no telephones. And as a manager at Lyman at that time, the toll wires were washed out, so we took the end of the toll wire, strung wire into the schoolhouse, and they had telephone service for the first aid station in Deer Trail.
Really? Did you work for the telephone company at that time?
I was a manager at Lyman at that time. And so
Ah.
I provided telephone service temporarily for Deer Trail. The office, it was not a Mountain Bell office, had 4 foot of mud in it. They had
Oh, wow.
a new telephone office.
Well, I worked for the Bell system for 35 years, so I know how that goes. I was in North Dakota for 13, so I saw the other side of floods. I saw blizzards and yeah, well, anyway, well, just kind of a recap. May 19 to 20, 1864. A lot of destruction at that time, and it pushed everything that was loose and everything that was sitting on rock and wood upstream. Second, June 16, 17 to 1965, we've just been through what that did here in Douglas County. Now, I'm not going political, but I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think about this? I won't be around, I'll tell you. I have a couple engineering degrees, and I will tell you this. I don't think I'd want to be around. Let me take you through some stuff, and I'm not pushing anything. I just want to give you some idea. Douglas County is running out of water for population growth. What would happen if there was a flood? Today, I want to show you a map. I hope you can see that. This is Douglas County as of 2023, and the subdivisions that now exist or are being planned are in yellow, and those tannish areas are subdivisions that are the 35-acre agricultural zoned lots. Now, I want to put one more thing on here for you. If this works, and it may not work. There are where the rivers and the streams are. So it kind of makes you wonder. Now, if you lay on top of that the topographical path of the 65 flood, come on. Well, come on. Okay. I didn't expect to go there, but I went there. If you could look from a long distance at Douglas County laying on a flat surface, that's what Douglas County kind of looks at. It slopes both to the northwest side as well as the north sea. The gradual slope on that is 6 degrees. We go from Monument Hill, which is what, 7438, is that right? Down to Chatfield, which is the surface level is at 5,400. Now, let's take one more look. Water flows downhill. I didn't realize all of these notes were in here. The pressure difference occurs when channels narrow. Now, those yellow, particularly the yellow, not as much the tan, but the yellow represents, have you been in places today like Park Meadows? It's concrete and rooftops. What do you think water's going to do in there? And the houses are built, I think, 22 or 24 feet apart. Somebody's putting a thumb over the hose. So if you lay on top the 65 flow, it could be pretty disastrous if we had another flood that was similar to the 65 flood. But we have flood protection at Chatfield and at Cherry Creek.
Which does nothing for Douglas County.
That's exactly right. It all goes north. It protects Denver. You know, it's like when you're hiking and you see these signs on the side of the hill that says, you know, beware of flash floods. If it is, get crawling up. But, you know, that is good. Now, I will tell you, there is one subdivision in Douglas County that is properly built, and that is Highlands Ranch. Shea Holmes did a great job. If you notice when you drive through Highlands Ranch Parkway, you'll see all of these hiking trails and stuff goes down. That is flood relief. It pushes it right up out of Highlands Ranch. And I suppose Littleton is somewhat saved by the Highlands Canal. I don't know. But anyway, other places there, I just can't imagine what would happen. And I don't really know what you do today to back out of that. But now I'm going to show you the last slide, but it isn't the last slide because I got one more after I show you this. This is the end. My last slide is this. I'd like to invite you to the October historical program, which talks a little bit, it talks about Divide Country. How many people know Divide Country or have ever heard of it? Well, it's a country that was called Divide Country in this kind of Indian arrowhead point of land that takes part of Douglas, El Paso to the south, and Elbert to the east. And it's known as Divide Country. Back in 1890, the residents of that area, well, not all of that area, but this side of the area, were going to secede from the Colorado County lines that were there and form their own county. Well, we're giving a program with that on October 23 at the Perry Park Country Club in the Colorado Room at 7 o'clock. And it talks about Douglas, El Paso to the south, and Elbert County towns that were in Divide Country. So, you're all invited. I hope to see you there. If I'm still living, I may get washed away by a flood. You know. Are there any questions? I don't know that I can answer them, but
What kind of warning did they have? How much time, did they have an hour that they knew this, the flood was coming and they could get away?
they knew it was going to be pretty bad. Yeah, they did. And a lot of people moved to relatives on higher ground. There's a story about, I like this story. As you go out Prairie Park Avenue, leaving Larkspur here, you know the ranch is down before you hit 105, McDonald Starr Ranch. Tom Starr lived back there in 1965. He lived by himself. He was blind. And he was lying in bed in the same house that's there today. He was lying in bed and he felt something funny. He felt like the house moved. So he got up. Now he can't see anything. He's feeling around. He swings his feet out of bed and he's up to his shins in water. And he goes to the front door and the porch isn't there anymore. It's way over there. And the porch stayed, the house moved. So, but yeah, it's amazing that they only had the number of 3 deaths in Douglas County, you know. So they really didn't have anybody that living in their place when they died. 2 of them came from Pueblo, and one lady just was at the wrong place at the wrong time, going home to get her dog. So, any other questions? Yes, sir.
If anybody would like, I have a booklet here that's labeled Flood, Mud, and Misery. And it's written by telephone company people because I was employed out of Lyman as a manager in 1965. And even there's a little write-up about one of my Lyman personnel. We chartered a helicopter out of Denver before Denver was flooded, and flew generators out to our microwave locations because the power lines were washed out,
Yeah.
the roads were washed out, and the only way we could maintain long distance lines, all the landline telephone toll lines were washed out, was to keep those microwave huts in power. And so we chartered a helicopter to fly out generators and took a man with them and said, keep that generator running. If you, for food and housing, make friends with a rancher or a farmer, they'll take care of you. And the Bijou rivers, you know, you talked a lot about Douglas County, and that's where it really all started. But the Bijou rivers running north all flooded out every bridge, every power line, every telephone line that crossed those Bijou creeks. And I learned about this before it really started happening because I was standing in our office where we had about 34 long distance operators, and the chief operator comes up and tells me about all the rain that's coming and the water that's coming. And so we had kind of a funnel of information coming into us. But if anybody wants to kind of page through this and look at the pictures, they're kind of interesting. 3 people lost their lives at Wiggins.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And this booklet says 28 persons were lost in Colorado. So I don't know which is correct, but that's what this book
These were newspaper figures, so they're probably wrong.
So I just wanted to, anybody wants to kind of look at this. I've had it for 60 years in a box.
Wow. Well, thank you for working for the telephone company. That's, yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
I know this happened over days, but did this start in the night or daylight? Do anybody know whether the flood started out like, in other words, it actually started in the night, where it started, or it started in the daylight? Do you understand what I mean?
No, I understand exactly what you mean. I can't really give you an answer to that because I frankly don't know.
I think it started early in the morning.
Maybe I was thinking that maybe that's why there was low death.
As he indicated, we'd been getting a lot of rain. And what really attributed to a major part of the flood was all the lakes and gullies were already full of water.
Yeah.
There's no place for the water to hold up, so it went down the creeks and the rivers. And by the way, at this time in 1965, the population of Parker was about 200 people.
Yeah,
Look at it today.
yeah,
And that speaks to the runoff of all the streets and the rooftops that's going to contribute someday to a major flood.
yeah. Now, when I was working for the telephone company in Bismarck, North Dakota, I experienced a flood, which was a flash flood. It was a cloudburst over on the other side of the Missouri River at Mandan, North Dakota. But it came right on over Bismarck. And if you've never known the power of water, it is scary. I was out as the manager looking at areas during when it started to let up. But I had a manhole cover in front of me that weighs 90. Well, at that time, the city required 94 pounds. That sucker was 9 feet in the air. It was just sitting there on a pillar of water that was coming up out of the ground, yeah, or coming up out of the sewer system. It was.
To answer your question, so the onset of the flood started on June 16th at 1:30 p.m. in Douglas County, the intense deluge lasting several hours, and then hitting Denver later that afternoon, evening.
You know, you don't think it's going to happen again, but I will tell you, we do another program called Earth, Wind, and Fire, and it's about all of the national disasters that Colorado has had. And Douglas County has had 8 floods since we started recording them, and the first one was 1865. A lot smaller, not like this, but yeah. Well, thank you for coming tonight, and hope to see you in October. Thank you. Turn some lights on here so we can see what we're doing.